So in the second video, we are going to really introduce the device for the first time for the user. They have never tried it before and they probably don't really understand how to interpret the information that they gather. So we have developed this kind of really simple introduction protocol on how to make sure that the person really understands when the object is nearby, how does it feel, how the movement feels, and so on and so forth. It's important to stress that if you go through those exercises or those tasks, then you need to make sure that the person actually understands it. And this is why it's important to communicate with them. And sometimes it takes more time for a person to really make this kind of mental connection that I mentioned in the previous video of the physical world and the haptic feedback on their forehead. So take your time, don't rush it. Always repeat the task if necessary. Talk with the person and work with the user to make sure that he really understands what is actually going on his forehead. So we start with really easy exercise where the person who is demonstrating the product to the user is on the side of the user and he starts to walk around the person quite close by. So this is the first experience that they should feel and they should experience. It's important that the room is so wide that the user doesn't feel any other random objects around him. So you start by walking from one side to other. You can always ask that they would point with their fingers how the object is moving in front of them. And you repeat it as much as needed to make sure that he really understands it. After that, if everything is fine and they understand it, you can take one step away from the user to give them the understanding of what happens if the object is a little bit further away. Then you repeat, you just walk from one side to other side. After that, you really want to give them this kind of subjective understanding of how to perceive the distance between the user and the object. So you take a few steps back and you start moving towards the user. And you need to explain that if something is getting more closer to the user, then the signals on your forehead gets more intense. And intense not in the sense that it will vibrate more, but in a sense that they feel the object gets bigger and the pressure that is applied on their forehead is getting stronger. So the second exercise, what we're usually doing is this kind of really silly small task where the person actually stands up with the device and the other person stands roughly 1.5 meters away from the users. And then we ask them to show which hand the demonstrator is actually waving. So this is really helpful in the case of understanding how the object is actually moving and what is the location of the object. So you start with one hand, then you repeat with the other hand and ask them if they understand it and ask them to point or just say that which hand the demonstrator is actually waving. And of course, in the end, you want to make sure that they also understand if there is two objects in front of them, which are two hands waving. And it's a really simple task to make sure that they understand the connection between the physical world and the haptic feedback that they actually feel on their forehead. In the next video, we will actually go into this kind of real-life scenario where there is an object in front of you and how to perceive it, how to understand it, and what to actually feel on your forehead.